Welcome. Thanks for coming for day one of NANOG 90. I'm Steve Plote. I'm the chair of the program committee putting on the content for this show. I'm also the session moderator for this morning's presentations. To kick off the conference, here on the stage with me is the board chair, Leslie Daigle. She's also Chief Technical Officer and Director of Internet Integrity Program for Global Cyber Alliance. Leslie, I'll let you go ahead and kick us off. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right, so welcome to Charlotte. And we're really glad to be here. This is the meeting that really almost wasn't. As you may or may not know, we had a little bit of a surprise in early October. So this is the timeline for a pretty normal meeting organization. This is what the staff does over the course of approximately 2 years leading up to a meeting. So you can see that there's an awful lot of work that goes into setting up any given meeting. Getting proposals, doing the site visits and contract negotiations, signing contracts, and just general planning, logistics, announcements, and all that kind of good stuff. In early October, however, we learned that the original hotel for this meeting was going to undergo some construction, and the meeting space that we would be using there was not going to be available to us. So suddenly, in early October, the two-year timeline got compressed into 3 months. So we're really glad to be here. An awful lot of work happened very, very quickly. Some of the announcements went out maybe a little later than you were expecting them. Thank you for your patience. We had to negotiate find a new hotel, move the dates, negotiate a whole new contract, and address some pretty significant issues in terms of ensuring that there was appropriate network support for our usual standards here. So it's really an awful lot of work. If there are some slightly frayed edges in this meeting as compared to your usual meeting, that will be the explanation. We're really glad to be here. And so it was an awful lot of work, and there are a few people that really need to be thanked. We made it here, we made it to this meeting, and I would like you to join me in thanking the following companies for the amount of work that they did in bringing us here. Rising to the challenge were Charter Communications, Line Speed Events, the SCS Cable Services, Sonify Voltage, and Le Méridien Charlotte, and the Westin Charlotte as well. So I think we can give them a round of applause. And because I know you're all going to ask, I know I certainly did, the additional expenses that we incurred for moving this meeting are in fact going to be covered by the original hotel as part of their agreement to support us in continuing to have a good meeting. So we would like to say thank you very much to the Westin for all the effort that they've put in to helping us and accommodating this change. And of course, it would be impossible to get through the slide without thanking the people who had to do all of that work in the compressed time frame of a few months instead of 2 years. So I would like us to offer a round of applause to the NANOG staff, especially Day Harvey and Valerie Ripkop. So, fun facts about Charlotte, the Queen City, now that we're here. Named after Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, home to the first gold rush in the US, which perhaps you hadn't expected, 1799. It is the most populous city in North Carolina since 1930, and it is the pimento cheese capital of the world, producing 45,000 pounds per week. Not sure who's eating 45,000 pounds per week, but there you are. It is a major financial hub, second largest center in the US. And as far as barbecue goes, since we are in the South, you will find particularly vinegar barbecue in the east and tomato barbecue in the west of the state. Conference Wireless, if you haven't found it already, here are the credentials. I suspect you've already found it, and it's available. This information is available outside as well. We have a lot of statistics about this meeting. As of this moment, we have 601 total in-person registrants to be here in person. You can dig down at this URL to get all of the stats that are available and see them in something that's perhaps less a microfont type. An important announcement, we are doing the committee appointments this week. There are 7 board committees that need volunteers. You can meet and greet with board members during the Tuesday afternoon break to learn more about that and also explain your interest in the various roles. You have to be an NANOG member to participate in a committee, but that's an easily solved problem. And here's the URL where you can find out all about the available committee appointments and how to volunteer if you are interested. And we urge you to please volunteer and be part of a committee because that's how we build our community. So I'd like to say special thanks to all of our sponsors. Our premium sponsors, particularly our platinum sponsors, AWS and Aaron, and our gold sponsor, VeriSign. And our meeting connectivity is brought to us by Charter Communications, Cisco Meraki, and Juniper Networks. And then there are a number of functions that are supported by sponsorship, so we will look through those quickly. The espresso bar, the all-important espresso bar, and the network lounge, the hackathon and hotel keycard, and the meeting t-shirts, the beer and gear sponsors, and if you be sure to attend tomorrow night's beer and gear. It's always Tuesday evening, and check out the gear from these sponsors as well as the beer and munchies. We are being well fed this week with breakfast and lunch break sponsors, and we have a number of social events that were sponsored as well. The virtual meetings is supported by a fellowship, and then we also have service sponsors as well. So thanks to all of our sponsors. All right, so I wanted to give a bit of an update as well about the code of conduct, the things that we are all agreeing to do here, and the ombuds, which are the people that we can talk to for when people are not doing the things we've agreed to while we're here. NANOG is about building community, and the code of conduct sets the behavior expectations, and you have agreed to the code of conduct when you registered. The ombuds team are here as a neutral party to help us navigate each situation when issues come up. And sadly, yes, issues do come up. There have been issues at previous meetings, on average about 2 to 5 reported incidents at each NANOG meeting. In each case, the ombuds team has worked with the individuals involved and making sure that everybody felt safe and heard. In the incidents we've had, most cases mediation was scheduled and all parties reported a positive outcome. Just so that you know, an anonymized report is provided to the executive leaders and the board to raise awareness and highlight any potential issues that we might want to address in meetings going forward. So if you make a report to the ombuds team, what happens? As I said, there will be an investigation to determine the validity of the claim in the next steps. If another party is involved and that person, the person that filed the report is comfortable in mediation, that session is scheduled to resolve the issue. And if it can't be followed, if a resolution cannot be found to the issue, there are things that can be followed up. And if it's a severe violation, you can be banned from future participation. So none of us want that. None of us want to be banned from NANOG, but this is really serious stuff, and we are here to make sure that everybody feels comfortable in being themselves and participating in building this community. This is a list of the things that we will not tolerate at this meeting. You should already be familiar with it, and there's a more inclusive list at the URL below. But it does include things like not aggressively pushing your own product or causes. It also includes, don't do anything illegal while you're here, please. And no offensive or verbal comments or physical contact because of sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, age, disability, physical appearance, personal appearance, race, color, national origin, or religion, or lack thereof. These are important things, as I said. And we have our ombuds people are here. You can easily identify them if you have had an issue that you want to pursue. It is confidential, it supports our community, and it's important. So This is all about building a positive meeting for us. And I also want to end this section by another thank you. The person who's been driving a lot of the diversity, equity, inclusion work and ensuring that we have a code of conduct to live by is also the person whose term on the board concluded at the end of last year. So at this point, I would like to thank Tina Morris very much for her service on the NANOG board and as the NANOG board chair. Steve, over to you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm back. I'll make this pretty quick. Program committee and what we're going to do here today in the next 2.5 days. Next slide, please. On the program committee, members slide. Oh, I have to do that. Duh. I thought they did that. Sorry about that. So I'm obviously the chair of the program committee at this point. You can see it's a pretty large number of people, but one very important thing to note is we will have many openings since we're doing elections for different committees and appointments. So we'll have a very large number of openings available, so please come join us. The committee puts on the content that we are going to see over the next 2.5 days. It's very, very important. It's something we all want to see and need to see as the market and the industry continues to evolve. The sessions we have talked about 33 talks. Automation is very, very important, so there are multiple talks in that area. BGP, of course. RPKI as a new version of support on paths. Network timing, monitoring of the network. There's a panel talk on Python versus Go versus Rust. There's also a brief discussion on coherent optics and how they work in the network. Tutorials-wise, we have split up traffic engineering and automation into 2 pieces. There's a first half, which is today, that goes over just the basics on traffic engineering as part of an automation play. Tomorrow is the second half of that program. It's a more detailed discussion, very deep dive into network automation, and there's also a lab as part of that as well. So we kind of split it up to let people that want to have just an overview be at today's thing. If you want to get into the muddy details of it, tomorrow I'll come to that one as well. There's also a tutorial on Google GNOI operations. And then Wednesday we mentioned whiteboarding. It's important as you get into doing meetings with lots and lots of people, putting your information together in an organized fashion and keeping things straight. And so whiteboarding is a very important thing to do, so we thought it'd be worthwhile to have as well here. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. We had the Women in Tech Mixer yesterday afternoon. It was pretty well attended. We'll have a talk on neurodiversity in the workplace later during the session tomorrow. There are table topics today and tomorrow that cover different aspects of the industry in general and also society. And then every morning, assuming weather permits, there is pickleball for those that want to get out and mess around for a couple hours with Louis and the rest of the team. There's also DA events that are about inclusion and building community as well. Our keynotes today will be Rob Shakir from Google talking about his 10-year retrospective opinion about open config and other things associated with doing networks. And then tomorrow we'll have Mark Johnson doing a brief history of the internet and how it has essentially expanded and grown here in North Carolina. Program tips. So there's some stuff you've seen at a couple tables regarding Discord. Discord is a server communications messaging platform sharing tool that we are in an alpha stage right now. It's not supported, but it's there, it's out there. We have a server up and running with it, so you can use it to basically have some level of communications within the community. But the official programs to utilize are, of course, the chat tab that's available to all attendees, as well as the Q&A tab if you want to ask a question and have a response come through. So again, no one's really monitoring Discord, but you can use it. It's in alpha stage. These are the official applications to utilize in order to be able to get what you want to have and get an answer back. So please use those as well with the help tab. Also, lightning talks. So tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we'll have half hours, so 3 talks per day max of lightning talks. Those are all in person. We have a number that have already come in that we're looking at right now. Steve Ulrich on the program committee is in charge of managing those to make sure we're going to accept some of those that come in. If you want to be on Tuesdays, then get your proposal in by today, the afternoon, by 3:30. If you want to be on Wednesday, you can do it today as well, but up to tomorrow at 3:30 as well to be on Wednesday. And you can pick the day you want to have, depending on when you put it in. We will be notifying you the day before that evening, so you can get yourself prepared. If you give us your cell phone number, we'll send a notification to you in text. Your slides are then due by the next morning before 12 o'clock. Last but not least, surveys. Every day, we basically have surveys going out. The leadership team of the program committee looks at those very, very closely to look at the details that the membership as well as the community see and want to see more of. So it's very important that we get surveys back from you all. And it's nice if you do it the day of, because it's still fresh in your mind, as opposed to wait till the end of the week to go and send your surveys in. You might forget some details. The details are the important things, because it tells us what the community wants to see, what's important, and that helps us to get the content you want to have delivered at the next meeting and the meeting after that. So surveys do close by Friday, but if you can get them in as you do them day by day, it's much appreciated. And there's a reward at the end for those, as a drawing is done for every day for a $100 gift certificate. And with that, we'll start our program. Thank you very much.